Good morning, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. Today we will be looking at inequalities as our topic. When we talk about inequalities, we will be using symbols like these ones. We will have less than here, greater than, and then less or equal to, greater or equals to. So when we use one of these in our questions, then it means you are dealing with inequalities, and therefore you need to know how to go about your question. So when we talk about inequalities, we say, let's take for example, we have x minus 2x squared greater than or equals to 0 to deal with. So in this case, you have to write it in a standard form for 1 mark. And the standard form means write it in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. But here we have only 2 terms, so you still have to arrange it. The one with a square comes first, followed by x. So minus 2x squared comes first, then x here is plus, or say plus s greater than or equals to 0 that we see there. Now because the coefficient of x squared is negative, we need to reverse the whole equation. So the negative then now will tend to become positive 2x squared. I hope you understand. We divide both sides by negative, and then that's how it goes. So we get 2x squared, then because here was plus x, it become minus x less than or equals to 0. Why are we introducing this less than or equals to 0? The reason is simple, because we divided by a negative number. In an inequality, when you divide by a negative number, the sign changes. The sign what? Changes. So in this case, it will turn from greater than or equals to, which was originally given, to the opposite sign, which is less or equals to. Now, in this case, we will no longer focus on greater than or equals to again, because now we are talking about different thing here. So this, when you are writing your answer, you need to take into consideration this less than or equals to. So now here you take what we call the common factor, since it's not in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. There are only 2 terms. Take a common factor, which is x. When x comes out here, we'll be left with 2x minus 1. Why minus 1? Because the coefficient of this x here is 1, so it will be left there. Then you put equals to what? 0. So when you put equals to 0, then now we come and you solve for x. You say this x here, which is outside the bracket, is equals to that 0. So the bracket itself, which is 2x minus 1, is also equals to 0. When you solve for this, it will give you 1 over 2. And then we also have x is equals to 0. Here is not the conclusion. This is called critical values. Grade 12, you need to put these dots and put here in bracket CVs for a mark. It's critical values. Now we are going to find our answers. Now let's see. This is what you do when you are finding the answers. You draw a number line here. And as you draw the number line, here, you simply say, in this number line, you use the smallest value to start. So between x is equals to 0 and x is equals to 1 over 2, 0 is the smallest number, so you put the 0 here. Okay, and then here we have 1 over 2, so you put the 1 over 2 here. You understand that? And then from here, we are going to look at, with this interval where I've marked which side is positive, which side is negative, and which side is positive. Now one will bear with me that any number I pick from here, use your calculator. Let's say from 0 you go into the left. So here we point the arrow to the left. Here we point the arrow to the right, and we put x on either sides. So if I'm moving to the left, I'm counting numbers from 0 to the left. Let's say you pick negative 1 here. So when you pick negative 1 for x, go and substitute into where you got the factors and see if it will give you a number which is a positive or a negative. When we put negative 1 into the original equation, or into this equation here, which is x into bracket, or you can even use this one, which is saying 2x squared minus x less or equals to 0. Let's check if it's going to give us a positive answer. So now when you put 2 into bracket, negative 1 squared is 2. 2 times 1 is 2 still. Then you put minus, and then you have negative 1 again. So it's going to change to become positive 1 there. So in this case, when you put your calculator to work, 2 minus minus 1 becomes positive 3. So it tells you here our answer we get will be positive, guys. The moment you get positive here, you don't need to look at what is going to be here. You will say you rotate. You rotate quickly. It's a new trick. It's positive here, it will be negative, and then here will be positive, like that. Anyway, you can also pick a number between 0 to half, and then you put it into the same equation with your calculator to check your answer, and then you will see it will come out as negative. Now the question is, what is the meaning of less than or equals to? Less than or equals to. It means we are looking for what? Negative solution. We are looking for a negative what? Solution. So if you are looking for negative solution, it means it is in here. Negative solution is here, where I've shaded negative solution. It means your answer lies between 0 and this half. So in this case, you can say 0 is less than or equals to x, and x is less than or equals to half. Guys, we don't change these signs when you are putting them. Most of you, your mistake is that you put less than or equals to here. When you come here, you change it and use the opposite sign. It's a wrong thing. Let us not repeat it again. Whenever you are writing the answer, keep the sign to the left all the time. So therefore here our final answer is 0 is less than or equals to x, less than or equals to 1 over 2. This will be your final answer for this question. Let's take another question again and see what best can we do. Let's take another question in this case. Let's take, for instance, solve for x. Solve for x here. And they give you, for instance, we are solving for x. They are giving x squared. S squared I hope you can see s squared minus 3x minus 18 is greater than 0. Question number 2 that we are solving for. X squared minus 3x minus 18 is greater than 0, and then they ask us to solve for this question. So let's see how we go about it. So we got x squared minus 3x minus 18 is greater than 0. In our solution, this is what we do. Now you can use the quadratic formula, especially those of you who are struggling to solve the questions. You can use the quadratic formula. Nothing stops you to get your critical values, and from there you look for your inequalities. Okay, so for me, I will use open bracket. The question is x squared minus 3x minus 18 is greater than 0. X squared minus 3x minus 18 is greater than 0. So I open two brackets and I put my equals to 0 here. Okay, I'm looking for my critical value. So here, factors of x squared is x here. You put another x squared here, x here. Then when you multiply, it gives you x squared. Okay, now let's look at factors of 18 that when we multiply, we get 18. When we add, we get minus 3. So definitely it's going to be factors of 18 now. It's going to be plus or minus 1 plus or minus 2 plus or minus 3 plus or minus 6, and then I think plus or minus 18. I think 9 can also go into 18. 2 times 9 is 18. So we can also have plus or minus 9. These are factors of 18. Okay. We want two of them such that when we multiply it will give us minus 18, and when we add it will give us minus 6. Definitely is when we add it gives us minus 3, sorry. Definitely it will be 3 and 6. It will be 3 and 6. But how do we write it? So since I want minus 3 in the middle, and so I can say x plus 3 here and then minus 6 here. When I take 3 and multiply by minus 6, it gives me minus 18. 3 minus 6 will give me this minus 3. So that's why I'm saying for those of you who cannot do this approach, quickly use your quadratic formula, which is x is equals to negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Fortunately, the formula is given to you in the formula page. Then you substitute a, b, and c into it, and then you get the critical value. So now here, my critical value will be x plus 3 equals to 0, or x minus 6 is equals to 0. So when I solve for x here, my x will be minus 3, or x will be equals to 6. This is what we call the CVs. So you write your CVs here, critical values, CVs. Okay, it's very important for mark. Otherwise, if you leave your answer here, you are wrong. Remember, we are dealing with inequality, not equation. Okay, so in this case, we now have to draw our number line again. Like I said, start with the smallest number is minus 3, and then we end with the biggest number, which is 6. So we've got 3 intervals here, one on the left, one in the middle, and one outside. So now let's check numbers that we can put into this to give us positive or negative to put on the number line. Okay, so here on the number line, just do this, the arrow one to the right, one to the left. It makes your life easy. Okay, now what is it that in the question we didn't divide by any negative sign here, so we can't change this. We can't change this greater than. It will remain as it is in our mind. Okay, so it means we are looking for a positive solution. We are looking for what? A positive solution. This symbol to the right, the arrow to the right, means we are looking for positive solution. So now let's check numbers. When I look at this thing here, the factors, I'm going to substitute any given numbers for x. Let me pick a number here on the left from minus 3 to the left. So if I have minus 3 and I'm moving to the left, I can pick minus 4. If I substitute minus 4 in place of x is minus 4 plus 3, the answer will give me minus 1. Keep it. We don't need the numbers, we need the sign. Then when I put minus 4 into this bracket, it will give me minus 4 minus 6, which is minus 10. So we have negative in the first bracket when I put minus 4, and we have negative in the second bracket when I put minus 4. So negative times negative is positive. So you put your plus here. Remember, I told you the moment here become plus, you rotate and take the opposite sign in the middle, and then you come here and you have plus. So what are we looking for? We are looking for a positive solution. Greater than 0 means we look for positive solution. So this is very important. So positive solution, one is here and the other one is here. So you see they are far apart from each other. So you take this s that I put here, you take this s and you use this arrow, and then you pick this number, minus 3. That is one of the answers. Okay, use this x on the arrow, and then you take the arrowhead, then you take the answer there, because we are looking for a positive solution. It lies here. Okay, then you say oh. Now let's go here, another x is here. This x you compare to this 6. Okay, so the arrow is on the right, so you first write the x, the letter first, What arrow are you seeing there? Are you seeing the arrow on the right is like this? Are we together? Then you come and pick this number 6. This is how you go about your work. So at the end of the day, this is what we get. So boys and girls, you got to know how to deal with these questions without any struggle. Now let me quickly do one involving fraction, rational inequalities. Let us quickly do one involving rational inequalities, whereby it involves fraction. So we're dealing with rational inequalities. Maybe they can give you a question which involves a fraction as an inequality, so then you must know how to deal with it. Now, to deal with rational inequalities, let's say they have given you a question such as say 5x minus 3 over x plus 1 is less than 4 over say x plus 1, and they want you to solve for x. Solve for x. Okay, a question like this is given to you. 5x minus 3 5x minus 3 over x plus 1 is less than 4 over x plus 1. Guys, the steps that you need is this. I'm giving you steps when you are dealing with this. Steps to follow. Now let's see. Step number 1. You must write in the form. Let's say k of x over say p of x is less than 0. So you write it in this order. So I'm going to do that step now with this question. That means I must move everything from the right to the left and then put 0 on the right. That is what I mean. So what I have here will be 5, based on the step number 1, I will have 5x minus 3 over x plus 1. Okay. Now, since I'm moving what is on the right to the left, it is positive there. So when I move it to the left, I'm going to have minus 4 over x plus 1. Then I put less than 0 on the right hand side, exactly what I'm referring to. So in this case, step number 2, we say solve for k of x is equals to 0, and you also solve for p of x is equals to 0. That means here, what you are going to do, you are going to first check the fraction the way it is. It has a common denominator. So if it has a common denominator, then write it again like this. We will have 5x minus 3. Then since it has a common denominator, you choose 1 is x plus 1. But here is also minus 4. Okay, then you have less than 0. I hope you understand that. Because it's a common denominator, x plus 1, and also x plus 1 this side. So it means you just pick one of them, is the same thing. And then you write your 5x minus 3 minus this 4, which is on the numerator. You put it together. Now you will be left, when you are calculating, you will be getting something like 5x minus 7 over x plus 1 is less than 0. Now we are going to apply what we are seeing here. I said you will take the numerator and you equate to 0, and you also take the denominator and you equate to 0 and solve for your x. So now let's see what follows. Now we take the numerator, we equate to 0, we take the denominators and we equate to 0. So here we have 5x minus 7 is equals to 0, and then you solve for x. So this will give you 7, and then we have 5x here, divide both sides by 5, here by 5, therefore one will have x is equals to 7 over 5. Okay, then we also go and take, or here you say x plus 1 is equals to 0, therefore x is equals to minus 1. I hope you get what is happening here. So this is what we, or where we are. So x is equals to 7 over 5, or x is equals to minus 1. Now these are our critical values, like I used to say. So here you draw again, and then we want to see the interval. Minus 1 is the smallest number between the two x values, and then here we have 7 over 5. Guys, you put your arrow again, put your arrow again. Okay, so now since we are dealing with a less than symbol which never changed, so we are looking for a negative solution. So here again you pick a number behind this minus 1, which can be a minus 2. Go and substitute it into this equation here where we have 5x minus 7 over x plus 1, and see if it will give you a number that is less than 0 or positive or negative. So let's take minus 2. If you take minus 2, that means you will be having 5 into bracket minus 2, then minus 7 over minus 2 again plus 1. I hope you understand what I'm doing. I'm substituting a number, any x value from here on a number line. If this is minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 in that order. So that is what I'm doing. So I'm substituting into the equation which I have here as 5x minus 7 over x plus 1 less than 0. So now when I substitute 5 times minus 2 is minus 10. Minus 10 minus 7 is minus 17. Divided by minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. So when you have a negative sign divided by negative, it cancels, then here it becomes positive. The moment you have positive here, I say don't bother yourself to work what will be in the middle. Change the sign. Here will be negative and here will be positive. What are we looking for according to the question? We are looking for a solution that is negative solution. Less than means a negative solution. That will tell you that your answer revolves around here, these two, because this is the only part we see negative. We don't go here, we don't go there. Here is out, here is out. So the answer will be here. Okay. So then now you choose to add them. So it's minus 1. You can simply put less than, then you put your x, you put less than again, then it goes like that. Don't change any sign in between here. Okay. So therefore your final answer is minus 1 less than x less than 7 over 5. I hope you have understood the lesson. I will end here. If you have any question on inequalities, don't hesitate to let me know so that we can deal with your challenges. Bye. Stay tuned and don't hesitate to subscribe and like and comment and share, most importantly, to all other grade 12 learners who are struggling. Thank you for watching Branco. Branco. All the way from Bethel College. You in Butterworth here in the Eastern Cape Province. If you are looking for help, you can also touch me on my line. I'll put my line there very soon. Bye.